The world has been watching very closely at what America is going through and what America is doing. And the world is not just laughing anymore. It is literally, they are literally turning their backs. And this guy by the name of Lars Man Abroad is going to be talking about this stuff in the video called The World is Turning on America. Leave before you can't. Man, we listen, guys. We need a sense of urgency in 2026, man. If you, if it's been on your mind to leave America, bro, you need to spend this whole year of 2026 stacking up your bread, getting all your documents ready, and just taking the risk, bro. Because what do you have to lose, bro? Literally, what do you have to lose, man? So let's see what this man's got to say, bro.
The world is turning its back on America at a rapid pace, and really it's the only logical thing that the world can do. America has turned back to the mindset of the feudal system, and it's toxic to the rest of the world. We're seeing the most negative parts of our political systems and ideologies spread throughout the world right now, creating massive damage. The world looks in at us from the outside, as I said in the last video, and sees a rabid animal because it acts without reason. It acts without any kind of thought of anyone who's not one of their subjects. And they don't particularly care about their own subjects as well. The further and further America actually goes down this road, kind of the less chance it has to actually gain its way back into the community of the world. America's become a threat, you know, to many nations across the world right now. I mean, obviously to Venezuela, obviously to Cuba, to Canada, to Mexico, to Greenland, which means Denmark, and Denmark, of course, means NATO. So America has essentially made itself enemy to the entire world. And what happens when that happens? The world detaches from America and leaves it to its own devices, to its own ruin.
Yeah.
But as things decline in America, as the economy continues to crumble, as lifestyle continues to degrade and more scapegoats are put out there, the more and more the oppressor understands and sees himself as the oppressed and sees himself as the victim, they will continue to lash out because everything's being taken from them, so they believe. The fact is, America is giving away everything right now. We're giving away our respect. We're giving away our alliances, things that were fought for, things that have taken decades or centuries even. America's giving them away or selling them wholesale with backhanded bribes. With donations, but it's leaving the American people in a position where they have nothing else that they can do, nowhere that they can go. Because when the world turns its back on America and America becomes a threat to the rest of the world, a lot of the visa agreements that the world has with America, you know, the free travel that the American passport has given us for decades at this point, that goes away.
Yeah.
Right? If you are an expat in another country and that country goes into conflict with America, you become an enemy alien.
Insane.
You're a foreigner in a state that is hostile to you, and you can imagine how difficult that would actually be. This whole channel is about leaving and finding happiness, finding peace and prosperity in another country. But when your own country is so set on destabilizing the world, how can we expect to be welcome? How can we expect to be trusted or taken in by a community?
Yeah.
The fact is we can't. So this affects all of us, even those who want to leave, which is probably the greatest strike to the freedom of America, just the true freedom of association, freedom to participate, because it forces you to do so. So even though the government would do everything that it can to have the world turn its back on us and forbid us to leave, essentially, it would still expect us to pay taxes. It would still expect us to do everything that we can to support the state. It would expect our sons and daughters to fight in the military against their own interest. It would expect all these things, and for what? I try to think of the things that America in my lifetime has given us, but all I can think is of the things that it's taken away from us and the next generations.
Mm-hmm.
Affordable housing and even just the idea of ownership is gone.
Oh,
as wealth disparity increases, your ability to navigate and migrate socioeconomically to higher classes, becoming more and more improbable, especially with the planned devaluation of the dollar, solidifying the working class's position as the working poor. America's creating a caste system in a free world. I mean, we looked at the free world that's being created and we said, no. We haven't said no. But the corporations, the oligarchs, the billionaires, they've said no. This isn't a place to live. And if you have the opportunity to leave, I really recommend that you leave and find a safe place.
Yeah.
Look into Thailand, look into Malaysia, look into the Philippines, look into Uruguay, look into Costa Rica. There are places that are neutral to America that we don't really have interest in. And there are still places to go, and you still have the ability to go there. Outside the capital city in Uruguay, it's actually quite affordable. Thailand's always a good go-to. Philippines is always a good go-to. People there speak English. In Thailand, they have the Destination Thailand visa, which makes it incredibly accessible to actually live there instead of just having to border jump every 60 to 90 days. There's opportunity out there for those who can actually do it. And I would argue that most people can do it. We'll do a breakdown. I've got it all ready for the next video when we're actually talking about that. For those who want to go to Thailand, it's still possible, but that window is closing, and we'll talk about that again. But the thing is, what are the American people supposed to do? You know, because when we look around, when we go outside, everyone seems to be acting like everything's okay. Everything's fine. Household debt's the highest that it's ever been. People are using their credit cards for everything, right? People are paying $1,000 a month for a car payment. And I mean, and they say that rents have gone down, but by how much? And you think that's going to continue to go down? That's not how our economy works. That's not how the housing market works. It has to continue to go up. Quantitative easing has begun, so inflation is going to come back. They're giving another $500 billion to the military on top of the $1 trillion that the military is already getting, while at the same time trying to cut everything for the American people, cut all the social safety nets, increasing pressure on the most desperate people in America, leveraging the government's power so that the poor, out of desperation, have to put pressure on the local and state governments to bend the knee. This is what our country's become. So of course the world's turning its back on it, because how is this supposed to be the leader of the free world if it's not even a free country? How are we the freest country on the nation when we set our goal to capture other countries that have no desire to be associated with America, no less ruled by them? The idea that we take another country, a sovereign nation, simply because it's of security interest to America, it's a dangerous thing, because by that reasoning, every country should belong to America because security reasons. It's a dangerous rhetoric, but people will usually just fall to their tribalism and support it, even though it's the last thing that they should.
We gotta get that boy Trump out of here, man. We did get him out of here, bro. It's getting scary, bro. It's getting scary, bro.
The government will always do to its people what it's willing to do to people outside of the country. It's a very thin line. And the psychopaths and sociopaths that actually work within our government, within our military, have shown themselves increasingly apt to do those same things to the American people. The mass detention centers that are being built, talking about homeless people being flown out of the country or homeless people being flown to Puerto Rico. Things are continuing to degrade here. Why would you come here? We're already seeing less and less people want to come to the United States, and more and more people wanting to leave the United States, including, like I said, 2/3 of the youngest generation right now seeing that foreign nations are actually where they want to be, right? Yeah. They want to pursue freedom and opportunity in other countries because they know, not that they think, not they've been propagandized, but just looking at the facts, looking at the experiences of other people in their generation, that the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. $1.5 trillion to a military while you cut everything from the people shows us exactly what your intentions are for the people. It's deprivation. Deprivation and instilling a permanent sense of desperation. When Donald Trump was asked the other day why he needed to have Greenland instead of just using the bases there, he said, well, it's about ownership. I just feel more comfortable with ownership. You don't really have something. You're not really willing to fight for something unless you have ownership. And this is incredibly ironic because you've taken ownership away from the American people. We've taken it away. So what reason, by your logic, do they actually have to fight for this nation? If the president and the wealthy class that he belongs to have absorbed or taken all the wealth, all the assets, all the homes in this country, just to rent it back at a blown up price to the American people, what reason do the people have to fight other than for fear? And that's why the culture of fear has to be upheld at all costs. That's why there always has to be a reason for the 30% to believe that they're the victims. We live in an age, we live in a nation where the billionaires think that they're oppressed because the people want to tax them more.
It isn't. That's
people with
crazy,
hundreds
man.
of billions of dollars see themselves as victims. And that's validated
Insane
by the president. That's validated by our government. That's validated by the media. When one person has the wealth of half of the country, and he is looked at as the victim in any way, is an insane position to take. Insane position to take. That's like asking the serf who works in the fields to provide a profit for the king, to pity the king, because another king wants him to pay taxes. We're all just trying to survive, right? We're the serf class, baby. We're just trying to make it to the end of the day, the end of the week, so we can get enough money that we can go out and just drink ourselves blind a little bit so we can forget about the crazy, insane future that we are walking into.
Yeah, that's why I don't like really criticize people for going out all the time, because it's like there's like you can't build a life here in America, bro. Like what else are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? We might as well go party. We might as well go to concerts, go to festivals, and do all this degenerate stuff, bro. Because we can't build nothing over here anyways. So I don't blame people for doing all that stuff.
Because rest assured that is a future that the American people are walking into. And it's infectious. And you're seeing it across the world right now. So yes, of course, the world is turning its back on America because it has every reason to do so.
Yeah.
If you lived in any other country right now and you saw America doing what it's doing, and you didn't think that at some point you were going to be on the chopping block, well, then you're just naive. And you're a useful idiot. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you as always.
WVO, bro, by Large Man Abroad. I'm definitely gonna. I already subscribed to him, but I'm gonna like this video as well. Man, the USA is going insane, bro, and people on outside of America have been taking notice, bro, and they said we are not doing it. We are not risking none of this stuff, bro. We ain't like, we're cutting you off. You know what I'm saying? Everyone is acting in self-defense at this point, bro, and billionaires are literally taking over and killing America as we speak. And I want no part of it. People like we don't want no part of it, bro. So we're trying to get up out of here. So greed is killing America, bro, and now it's trying to kill the rest of the world. Insane, bro. Insane, man. It's like America is like becoming the new like Germany, just like how Germany was back in like the 1930s, bro. But man, let me know if you guys enjoy this video, bro. And as always, see you next time.